Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Jen and Melanie here.
Hey, welcome to our live stream today. We have an action-packed hour or so, or as long as it takes us today. We've blocked off a lot of time for today's webinar to talk about book publishing, to talk about book marketing, to talk about your business, talk about how to use AI, how to become a bestseller. So we're going to hit a lot of topics, and we want to answer all your questions today. I got to start with how my morning started today. So
What happened?
I was all dressed. I picked out these, this is kind of a girl thing. If you're not a girl, you might not get this, but I picked out these pants and they're a really nice brand. Like, I don't want to dish the brand because I buy a lot of stuff by this brand, but it's a high-end clothing brand. I'm just going to say that. So the front of the pants are leather, right? But they're that faux leather where, it's however they do leather today. And then the back part was like stretched, like leggings. So I'm all dressed. I'm ready to go. Been working around, like I'm on a tight timeline, right? We're going to do this live stream. Had my outfit picked out before. So I go to put my boots on. And all of a sudden I look down and my pants became totally shredded. All the leather shredded everywhere. And there was black stuff all over the floor. I'm like,
No.
what the heck? Like, how does this happen? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I had to take them off so carefully, like inside out, so I didn't get this stuff everywhere. So I kind of had to, transition to pick out another outfit, other pants and stuff to do this. So my point of the story is, like, to relate it to you and maybe doing a book is, maybe you've been planning to do the same thing and you still aren't any farther in your book, or things are going wrong and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. This book just isn't coming together. I don't feel like I'm focused. I don't feel like I have clarity. And maybe the whole thing shredded on you. You're like, this is not working out. I don't even think I want to write the book about this. I'm going to start a brand new book. I can't tell you how many authors go, I have 3 books started and I'm
Yeah.
not sure which book I should be writing. So that's kind of like your pants shredded on that book and you're like, I'm going to get a different one. So that's kind of my point of the story. So we're hopefully going to give you some clarity and some focus. And a lot of times it is working with the right people and listening to the right people to get that clarity and focus. So you're not writing 3 or 4 books at one time, but you're writing 1 book at one time.
Yeah. Well, and I think we want to introduce ourselves because there might be some people here who don't know us, and they might be saying like, well, what do you know about book publishing or book writing? So Melanie and I have been in business now for almost 10 years. It's like 9.5 years. I've been doing books for that long. We've been doing digital marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and we have ourselves both published over 16 books and become bestseller ourselves. And Melanie, why don't you tell them more about you?
So, people say, have you always wanted to be in the publishing business? And I go, I never dreamt or thought I would be in the publishing business. I started out as a newscaster back in Detroit. That's where I grew up, was in Michigan. I started out as an auto show model that turned into me being a newscaster, which turned into my former husband and I starting a TV station from scratch down here in Houston, and Channel 51 KNWS. We just got a piece of paper from the FCC saying, yes, you can start this TV station, and then buying another TV station in Dallas. So operated and ran $100 million media company. And I produced TV shows there. I was still on the air there. Matter of fact, I simulcast in Detroit and in Houston a TV show, but also ran the company, helped with advertising, did advertising trades when we were starting out, when we didn't have money for Christmas presents. I made a trade with Klein's Jewelers for advertising so we could have Christmas presents. So my background is really media, advertising, and marketing, and then also did some real estate development. And then Jen and I just happened to decide to do a book publishing retreat, and that just exploded and turned it into our publishing business. So that's kind of a little bit of my background, and I would say I've also, which I don't tell people all often, but Jen's going to probably she's told me, you've got to tell people this. Yes, I was Miss Michigan. So I'm a former Miss Michigan and first runner up to the Miss America. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Yeah, Melanie just found this out about me the other day. I actually was in a pageant in high school too. I was in the junior miss program, but I didn't win anything, but it was still really fun. I won a lot of knowledge is what I won.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my background is in digital marketing and web design. Before that, I owned retail stores and started a couple of online retail stores selling and drop shipping products. And I had over 20 kiosks in 3 different states, and we sold all different things. And so I kind of ran the back end of that, doing all of that, and raised kids and homeschooled. So as a single, then I became a single mom and put my kids in charter school, and that was good for me because then we could run this business. But yeah, so I've been doing book writing, book publishing, book marketing for over 10 years now. And the digital marketing and web design is just kind of the same thing. I always tell people I used to get people #1 on Google search with video marketing. And now I get people #1 on Amazon because Amazon's a search engine just like Google.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me, what does Elite Online Publishing do? So we publish books. We've made all of our authors bestsellers, including Wall Street Journal bestseller. We help them write their book if they just have an idea and they need structure and trying to figure out their focus. And we get about 10,000 words written in a day for them, along with all the structure. But then we do all the publishing. So audiobooks, hardback books, paperback books, ebooks. And then we help with a marketing plan and how to use your book for your business. So that's what we do. We have published over 3,000 books in our history between our own books and books for other authors. And like I said, we've been doing this for, I can't believe it's almost 10 years. I guess we started in 2015 was our book publishing retreat, the first thing that we did. Well, let's talk about what we want to teach you today. And I touched on
Wait, right before that,
yeah.
I want to ask and get to know people who are watching.
Oh,
So
yeah.
can
I
you
would love
please
that.
comment where you're from and what you do in the comments? I know we have a few people here, so if you'll just, Denise was earlier talking about how her armchair or her armrest on her office chair did the same thing and the leather shredded. So I thought that was funny. So welcome, Denise. Put in the comments where you're from. And Zulkarnain is here from Pakistan with his 2 friends.
Woo! Thank you.
So thank you for coming. But other people that are here watching, put your name and where you're from in the comments on whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube or on LinkedIn. So go ahead and put it in the comments. Denise is from New York. Welcome.
Welcome.
And we'll shout out your name later if you don't have time to put it in. We've got Deborah here from Avila Beach, California.
Woo!
I think I said that right. Avila.
Love that.
So welcome, Deborah. She's watching on YouTube. That's great. All right, well, Melanie, we'll tell everyone what we're going to learn today.
Okay, so we're going to talk about great ways to get your book written. Another reason is like, how do I use my book for my business? And how to sell books. I want to get into that conversation a little bit too, because I had a guy yesterday or a couple days ago, was like, how do I sell 1 million books in a year? And that's a big question. So Jen and I even put that out to a book publishing community we belong to, and they were all stuck, yeah, that's a really good, interesting question. So we want to talk about that a little bit. We're going to jump into AI. That's been a hot topic of, can I write my whole book with AI? How do I use AI? So we're going to do some real life demonstrations about that today as well. We're going to tell you how you can work with us later on in the show. We're going to take questions and answers. And we just got a lot of things we're going to go through today. And let's get started. So, I wanted to also tell you this story. I think part of my background is I owned a couple really big houses, and when the market went down and everything kind of went upside down and my marriage ended, the houses were pending foreclosure, but I had to make revenue somehow. And so I decided the summer house that we had up on Walloon Lake, which is just a gorgeous, gorgeous lake in Michigan. It was a really big house. It was like 13,000 square feet. And I thought maybe I can rent this house. Now, Airbnb did not exist. VRBO had just started. I hadn't even heard of it. A friend of mine told me about it. And traditionally, realtors would rent your house, right? They would be the ones, like the local realtor would try and rent it for the summer rentals. So all the realtors told me, this house is too big. You're asking the most money out of any other house. But I'm like, it's the biggest house. There's no other houses this big in this area that are renting. So it has to be more. So one of the realtors rented the house 1 week that summer. So that same summer, I got some advice from a friend about VRBO. I did some research, and VRBO was this new platform, and I used it, and I put my house up there, did the book description, did the house description, got pictures taken, put everything up there. And you're not going to believe it, but I sold the entire summer out. So I was charging $10,000 a week then. Now that house would go for a whole lot more, but I cash flowed over $100,000 that summer. And I did it all myself through VRBO because it was another platform. So my point is for you is make sure you're aligned with the right people. Like if you're not aligned with the right people, you may be stuck with your book. If you're trying to do the traditional route or traditional publishing, you might not get the same results as if you take action. And the first step is really to learn the ways to write your book, listen to people like us that are giving you tips to move forward with your book. And then you're going to see a whole bunch of momentum. And one of the things I think that we do is we get your book done in a quicker amount of time. And that transcends into getting more business sooner, getting more credibility sooner, leveraging that book and leveraging the power of Amazon much sooner versus waiting another year or 2 years with a traditional publisher to get your book written. So that's kind of my point with that. So I want just to let you know that, that's just a great way to do that. So Jen, we're going to talk about how to write your book and some tips on getting your book done fast.
Yeah, so let's dive into some teaching. All right. Well, first, I want to tell you that I just got back from a 7-day cruise down to Belize and Honduras, and it was amazing. So if you haven't done it, do it because it's really cool. And Mexico, of course, we hit Mexico twice. But I had so much fun and I had a great time. But before I left, I had an epiphany because one of our authors wrote a book it was a children's book about the Caribbean. And I was reading her book because I'm like, hey, I'm going on a cruise in the Caribbean. And it was all about a cruise, going on a cruise through the Caribbean and talking about the boat and, learning the bow and the stern and all that stuff. So it was really a cute book. And I thought, oh, I should take her book and put it in the library of the cruise ship because every cruise ship has a library. Mm-hmm. So I decided to bring 3 of my own books, of course. So I brought one of our author's books and 3 of my own books. So we have a book called How to Write Your Life Story and Leave a Legacy, How to Write Your Success Story, or How to Write Your Story of Success. So that's the second book I brought. And the third book I brought is our latest one called Strategic Writing System. And I brought those 3 books and I put them on the shelf in the library. And I took pictures. So look out on social media. I'm going to post those soon. But I took pictures of them. And then my girlfriends who went with me, 2 of them are also authors. So I told them before the trip, bring your books and we'll put them in the library. Well, one of the authors, Corey Jenkins brought her book, Love You to Life, and she put it on the shelf. And when we got to the library, she went and put it on the shelf. I put mine, we took our pictures, and a lady walked up and she said, what's that book? And she pointed to Corey's book. And Corey said, oh, that's my book, Love You to Life. And it's a journey of loving yourself. And she said, oh, can I see it? And so she opens the cupboard and gets the book out and she's all excited. And then we left. And then Corey was like, I think I'm going to go back and get a picture with her. So she ran back and got a picture with her and talked to her a little bit about her book. And then later on, we just kept walking by the library to see if our books were there. And Corey's book never returned. So that woman probably took her book home, which is great because that's what she would want. Because Corey's a life coach. And so maybe she would work with her later. And our books were gone as well. So my books were gone as well. So someone has grabbed our books and I might get a client from that. Now, the other author, that's my friend, she forgot to bring her book. So guess what that missed opportunity is, right? Mm-hmm. So just remember, there's an opportunity everywhere. When you're an author, there is opportunities everywhere for people to read your book and know your book. And if you don't tell them that you're an author, they're just never going to know, right? So bring your books everywhere you
That's a great learning lesson. Like Jen always says, always carry a Sharpie and carry some books with you. Have them in your trunk, have them a couple in your purse when you're going. I was just at the chamber, a women's chamber, and I gave away 2 of my books there because 2 people said, oh, I really want to write a book. And then an interesting story when I was there is one of the ladies, everyone asked, what do you do for a living? And I told the one lady, well, I'm an author and I own Elite Online Publishing. You're an author? Oh my gosh, I've never met an author before. You know how rare it is to meet someone who's written a book? And I was thinking, that's so interesting because like my family's been in the insurance business and no one ever goes, oh my gosh, you're in the insurance business? I've never met someone who sells health insurance before. So, there is that impressive credibility and it just puts you in another stratosphere when you are an author. So the
Mm-hmm.
point is your book brings you that credibility and you can use that book to get clients. So that's kind of the reason why when you need that motivation to keep going. So many of you, like I said, you started 3 books, you haven't gotten finished. We want you to have that motivation and that why to finish your book, right? So what is your book going to do for people? Like I want to teach people X and make it that niche. Like so many of you may be like, well, I want to write a book about leadership. Well, there's a flooded market about books about leadership, but maybe it's about being a leader in a multicultural environment today, being a female leader, in today's world. What is that micro within the macro that you're the expert at and that what you want people to know about you, what you want to be speaking about for the next couple years, what you want to put the flag in the sand about for you as your credibility, and that you want to be, I would say, selling on, right? Like, are you a consultant? Do you want to be consulting about this? Do you want to be speaking about this? Do you want to make a course about this? Even if you're in insurance that I mentioned earlier, do you want people to buy from you? Why should I buy from you as an insurance agent versus someone else? What is the knowledge that you have that you can share with somebody else?
Yeah, I like that. I like that you said flag in the sand. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Mhm.
And the micro, you got to do the micro. You don't want to write a book just on leadership. It's not niched enough. It's got to be honed down into the micro, not the macro.
Mhm.
I like that. That's kind of what our client Kate DeLeo did. She wrote a book called Muting the Megaphone, and it's kind of like about copywriting, but it's more about it's more about just how you can have the right words and say the right words. And so she actually has been speaking on stages since we helped her get her book to #1 on Amazon. And one of her first speaking gigs she was at, she was approached afterwards and they asked her to come and speak on their stages. They had, I think, 12 different speaking opportunities for her, and they included the travel expenses and and paid her to speak.
Yes.
So just getting her book to #1 and becoming a bestseller really put herself on the map. When she was introduced, she's not just introduced as Kate DeLeo, the girl who mutes the megaphone. She's introduced as Kate DeLeo, #1 international bestselling author. It
Right.
just sounds so much different.
Yeah, it really gives you that title. So think about the longevity you're getting when you become an author. #1, you're getting that title forever. You're an author. And if you work with the right publishers like us, that you become a #1 best-selling author or international best-selling author, that title is now attached to your name for the rest of your life. It should go on, like people say, well, how do I sell more books? All right, I'm going to dive into this. I'm kind of going all over the place here, but so I always say, all right, so we said, how to sell 1 million books, right? So are you doing the core things? First of all, I always say, so let's start with the book, right? Have a great book to begin with, but let's do like the mechanics. Do you have an Amazon author page? Do you have a Goodreads author page? Do you have A+ content about your book, which is all the graphics on the sales page? Are you in the right categories? Do you have editorial reviews on there, which also go on your sales page? Do you have an about the author on your sales page? All of these things help Amazon to find you and to populate you. So it's like, if you don't put all that stuff on there, Amazon's not going to be as prolific. But speaking of Amazon, now you've hired Amazon for free, really, once you become an author. Amazon's SEO, which is search engine optimization, is going to work for you for the rest of your life. because that page shows up on the first page of search, not just once, but twice if you do the Amazon author page. So when someone searches for your name or your business, if you have that in the book, it's going to show up on the first page of search where they're going to learn about you, learn about your book by your book description and all those things I just mentioned. Also, Goodreads is pretty strong as well. All right. So the next thing you need to do is make sure you put the link to your book. All right. A link to your book, where should it go? Number one, it should go under your email address. So when you have your name, put the link to buy your book.
Your email signature.
Yes, your email signature. Thanks, Jen. It should.
And if you don't know how to create an email signature, look it up. Google will tell you, YouTube will tell you, everyone will tell you.
All right, so Jen, maybe we should do a training on that, right? We'll have to figure out how to put it, your book on your email signature. You should put the link in your LinkedIn. It should go on all your social media, on your Facebook page, on your Instagram. So the link to buy your book should be everywhere you go. This sidetracks me a little bit. Is social media important? And you're like, well, I don't really get any views on social media. I'm not getting that much engagement on social media. But again, it leaves this footprint. So Google is knowing that you're there and you're being active on it. And when people are searching you, it's going to come up. So if they're searching you, oh, this person has a book. Oh, this person is actually posting about their book. And they're going to, I stalk people on social media that want to work with us all the time, or that I want to work with them. What are they about? What do they have? Do they have a book? What information can I find out about them? So social media is really important, especially when you're launching your book. I suggest do at least 3 months of social media when you're doing a book launch campaign. All right, I'm done with my rant. Go ahead, Jen.
No, those are all really, really important things, right? Because if you don't have those things, how are you going to sell 1 million books? You got to start with the beginning, right?
Yeah.
You definitely have to do that. Well, one of our other clients, Lauren Golden, she's known for helping moms leave the workplace and become stay-at-home moms and do freelancing. And within the first week that her book became bestseller, she had new signups for her course, her digital training course. And she always asked people, where did you find me? And they were like, oh, I bought your book, And of course, we also make sure in each book that have a call to action. And her call to action was to go and sign up for her digital training course. So just from having her book got her new leads and new clients. And that's really what you want to do. You want your book to get you more leads and more clients, right? So let's talk about how you can make more money with the book. All of those people have made money with their book because of that. It's not about the book sales. We have so many authors that come to us and say, how many books do I need to sell to become a bestseller? Well, it really depends on the category you're in on Amazon. But that's not the question you should be asking, right? You should be asking is, how can my book help me make more money in the industry that I'm in, right? So, one of the best strategies I use with my book, Books to Bucks. So I have a book called Books to Bucks, How to Make Money, or How to Make 20 Ways to Make Money with Your Book. And I wrote it with Everett O'Keefe. And the best way to use that is to mail it to someone. So we call this the foot in the door strategy. And this is one of my favorite strategies that we learned from our mentor. And Amazon is so great because they have Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. And so you can buy your book, make sure you have the address of the person you want it to go to, and you can choose gift wraps option, which sometimes it's like a clear bag, but it's still gift wrapped. But what it does is it gets past the gatekeeper. So if the person you're trying to send your book to is an incorporation or has a secretary or something, it's going to get past that person, right? And then they're going to get that Amazon box and open it, and it's your book. And then on Amazon, you can add a little gift receipt. And on the gift receipt, you can tell them, hey, check out page 50. I know it will help you in your business, or whatever you want to write on that note. I've even seen people say, check out this YouTube link. I have a quick message to share with you. And then it will have a short YouTube link that's unlisted YouTube, which means that only the person who types in that address will see the video. And you can have a little personal message right to that person saying, check out page 50. It says this, this, and this, and it's going to help your business. And I really want you to have this book. And do you know how fast you get clients when you are that personable? Like that, you get clients really fast that way.
And, I want to add to that a little bit is, and it kind of goes with your cruise ship story, is how many books are you giving away? So when you're ready to launch a book, your book becomes a business. And the business is really, so you should be giving away books to X amount of people per month, whether it's 10 books a month, 20 books, 50 books. Like, like I said, I was at the chamber and I gave some books away because those people could become clients of yours. That could spread the word. That can get you book reviews. People go, how do I get book reviews? Well, give your book away. So here's a tip for book reviews is ask somebody, like we have our strategic writing book here, ask them to say, hey, can I do a quick video with you of saying how wonderful you loved our book? And then they can put the video, have them do it on their phone. And when they do this, they can upload a video review right to Amazon. So giving your book away to as many people. Then here's another tip about what Jen said, that foot in the door. So if you are trying to target a certain company or a person of a company, like the CEO or president, to hire you to be a consultant or buy your products or services, send 2 books to them, right? One for them and one for them to give to somebody else. Send the books to the HR department. Send the books to maybe the whole staff of that department. Maybe you send 20 books to a company and they arrive on the same day. Everybody's opening your book. Everyone's got your book on their desk. Don't you think they're going to be talking about your book that day? So just some strategies of how to sell more books, how to get your foot in the door to get those big ticket clients.
Yeah, I really like that. Tell everyone the story of Clark East because he gives his book away and he also has them in grocery stores on the shelf. Tell them about that.
Yeah. So Clark East was a real estate developer, very successful. And during the 2008, 2009 economic real estate debacle, he made a mistake, a financial mistake. And it cost him to go to jail for this financial mistake. It was a white collar crime. And so he had a whole transformation while this happened and epiphanies. And so when he got out, he thought, gosh, if I need to get back into business, but how are people going to trust me? And so he decided to write a book about his story of what happened, how it happened, how he was desperate and he made this mistake of taking funds and borrowing funds from his account that he shouldn't have done, and telling his whole story and transformation. And he published the book with us. So he said, instead of people just asking him questions of, hey, like, I don't think I want to work with you. I saw some sketchy stuff with you online. He gives them the book. He's upfront about what happened. They read the book and it's so heartfelt of what happened to him. They want to work with him. So he's now done land leases on 6 Starbucks. He's like, Melanie, this book has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. If I didn't have this book, I don't think I would have ever gotten these clients to be able to tell and share my story. So I just love that story of him. And he's such a great guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's dive into how to write a book because some people are probably like, well, I don't even know what to write about.
And
So
before we do that, let's see, do we have any questions and
yeah.
what I want to ask is how many of you are wanting to write a book or if you've already written a book. So if you're saying, I want to write a book, yes, or already have a book, let us know where you are in your process. So type in the comments. We'd like to see if you've written a book or you're trying to write a book.
Yeah, I see a couple questions from Zulkarnain, mostly comments, but one of the questions he asked was, what's the best platform for emails to send newsletters and emails? We like MailChimp, and we also like a Go High Level. So we use Cultivating Sales Pro, but Go High Level or Cultivating Sales is a good one. You can check out our partner page on our website, and it has links to that. So that's what we like to use. Let's see if there's any other questions.
Give you a second to kind of catch up on all the information that we just did and see if you have any questions. My bangs are giving me in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions right now. Please type them in the comments if you have them. Denise has one. She says she's in the process of writing her children's picture book series. Oh, that's great. Nice. That's similar to our author, Ekaterina Otiko, who just published her book. And yeah. Deborah says publishing ebooks on March 8th for International Women's Day. Oh, that's a great day to launch your book. Great idea. And what's your book about? Tell us about your book.
Yeah. And if by now your book should almost be finished, or while you're finishing, you should be getting your book cover done and you should be talking about it on social media and getting your book launch team all together. Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's dive into.
We have a lot of people who are already written their books or in the process of getting things out. Deborah says hers is a memoir about living in the Philippines. Oh, awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, cultural adaptation is a lot because
Mm-hmm.
I told you I was just in Honduras and I was in Roatan and Belize, and yeah, culture is totally different there. All right. All right. Yeah, you can talk with us for sure. You can just reach out to us on our website or contact Melanie or I, and we can talk to you about any of the questions you have. Let's dive into if you haven't written your book. And for those of you who have already written a book, maybe you can think about what the next book you want to write, right? And you probably heard us talk about this before, but it's really important because a lot of people say, well, I don't even know where to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to do it is our 10 by 10 by 3 strategy. And if you get our book, Strategic Writing System, it goes into detail more about how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I wrote my first book. My very first book was Video Marketing for Professionals, and there's the Strategic Writing System book. Melanie used this for her first book that she wrote about the Dominican that she used to sell her Dominican villa to charities in the Dominican. But the first thing you want to do is write down the top 10 frequently asked questions. So what are the top 10 frequently asked questions about your business or about the topic that you want to write your book about?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to write all those down, and then you want to write the answers to those questions down. And then you want to give 1 or 2 story examples for each question. So it might be kind of like teaching them or helping them learn a lesson from that story, but you kind of want it to bring it all together so that the story and the lesson all come together. And then you want to write down the should ask questions. And this goes back to what I was talking about before when I said they should be asking me this, but they asked me this, right? So what are those should ask questions that people should be asking you, not the top 10 you usually get, right? So what are the should ask questions? And you write all 10 of those down. And then you write 1 or 2 stories, or first answer the question, and then do 1 or 2 story examples for each one. And this kind of gives you that start of content, right?
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, that's kind of just like not that exciting of a book. Well, now you want to go through each one, figure out the structure, maybe help get a book coach or a ghostwriter to help you to get it all together and find out where your holes are, where the things are. Go ahead, Melanie.
Yeah, let me dive in a little bit and go a little deeper in that structure, right? So you've got you know what the answer to the question is. You have the question, and you know when you go on Google, you get these short little answers. But like Jen said, it's important to have stories that illustrate that. So kind of a structure is, you know, the story, the data, maybe that if you need data to support that, and why that's important. Like, you know, why is it important to write a book? Like everyone should write a book for their business. Well, why is that important? And then you're saying, well, it's important because you gain credibility, you get media attention. I'm just using writing a book as an example. You know, but then, okay, well, why is it important to get media attention? Why is it important to have credibility? Why is it important to be able to have a tool, a branding tool that you can have all this content from in one place? So you keep asking that question why over and over again to dive deeper and deeper into the chapter. But once you get that structure, like each client we work with on a VIP day, the structure is a little different. It's not cookie cutter that every author has the same structure. So, you know, the overall macro structure is the story, you know, the point of what you want to learn, or what the answer to that question, stories that support that, and then why it's important and what it means to them, the result afterwards. So, but then with other people, they may need some data to go with it, some data points to go in with it. Now, it's important to know, I love to have your own personal stories in these. That's real important because then it shows you and your expertise. But I also want to say it's just as easy to incorporate some other stories of other people. Might be someone you've worked with, like you've heard us talk about some of our authors, or it might be famous people. I just did a social media post about Kevin Hart, about how he wrote his book. And I'm going to share that with you here real quick because I think it's kind of fun how he did it. It's the way that we talk about doing it too. He says, you know, I'm not really a writer. I'm not great at sitting down. He said, so I use notes. He uses his voice recorder on his phone. He said, I might be driving around and all of a sudden I'll have a thought and I'll put it in my phone and I'll say, oh yeah, I want to talk about this. And then he goes back and he edits it to make sure it makes sense and then starts to put it in the places it should go. He goes, I put title ideas, subtitle ideas. And the most important thing I think that he said in this interview he did with Joe Rogan was he talks about the reason why he's writing the book. So his latest book, I can't remember the title of it, but he said, the reason why I'm writing this book is I want people to feel better about themselves. He says, because in this world, so many people can knock you down, tell you you can't do something, or, you know, in his life being a celebrity, he's going to get negative comments and people cutting him down. I know he's had some tumultuous things go on and people, oh, you know, don't go watch Kevin Hart or this and that. He goes, if you believe in yourself, and you know that you're a good person and you say, I know who I am, I'm honest, I'm a wonderful person, then life can come and try and knock you down. But you can go, you know what? I don't have to believe that because I know who I am. So he figured out what is the reason for the book. And we tell our authors that, like, when your reader closes the book, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to say? What do you want them to tell their friend? Oh my gosh, I just read this book. Like, you know, our strategic writing system book, for example, we said when they close their book, they're going to go, I am so motivated to write a book now. And I feel empowered that I have the right tools to do it. And I want to go back through the book again and highlight the different things that I know that will work for me in writing my book, that they're going, I know I'm going to write a book this year when they finish this book. So what is the reason for your book? That's what we kind of want to get you to decide. So Jen's going to start to go into some AI things if she's ready. I know she, are you ready, Jen?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So let's dive into the big question of 2024 is, how do I use AI? Can I use AI to write my whole book? No.
Yes.
Don't use
No,
AI
you
to write your whole book. That is,
can't.
no, don't do that.
Don't do that. But if you've been around, you know what artificial intelligence. There's a
Mhm.
new tool that came out last December, so it's almost been a full year. And if
Right.
you haven't taken advantage of this, you need to. And it's called ChatGPT. OpenAI is the website, chat.openai you can go to. And it will help you with so many things. It's not just a writing tool. It's not just a copywriting tool. It's a tool that you can use it for so many things. I was actually just at a previous client's house and I was showing her how she can use it to help with her Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And she said she hadn't heard of it before. And then we went into the account and she had used it before someone else had showed her. So she had already used it once. But I showed her how she can put it on her phone. I showed her how she can use it on a desktop. And it can almost be like a personal assistant. It can even help you to have menus and recipes for dinner. So, you know, whatever you want to use it for, it can help you to study. It can help you with algorithms and statistics and math problems. Like it's a really great tool. It can help you so many things. But we like to use it to help us write and help us get our thoughts down, and kind of like almost like an assistant that you can like bounce off of, right? Denise says that she used AI to brainstorm ideas for
Perfect.
reader magnets for book ideas. Yes, I love that.
Perfect.
I love that. Well, what I want to talk about AI is it's only as good as the prompts you give it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just tell AI, write me a chapter outline for real estate, it's going to be pretty boring and generic, right? You have to have a lot more words than that so that the artificial intelligence can understand really what you want. Like you have to give it very clear instructions, right? And then also, you can't just take what it gives you and copy and paste it into a book and say, or into a manuscript and then publish it and say, my book's done. That's copy. That's plagiarism, right? Like, I mean, it's not really plagiarism, but it is, because you have to edit it. You have to make it your own. You don't want to put a book out there that isn't your words. I mean, yes, AI is going to help you write it, but you want to be able to add stories, edit it, and add different things into it, right? You don't want to just do it word for word.
Yeah. And I want to comment here is that, it doesn't know your stories, right? Your stories aren't everywhere usually. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't know what's in your head and your personal experiences and stories. The other thing is you have to double check the data and the content, because ChatGPT will just make stuff up. And you put it in a book and you're like, that's not even true. You're like, oh my God, I didn't check that. I put stuff in a book that wasn't even true. So you really have to double check it to make sure everything is valid. And then you still, like you say, use it for brainstorming, add your own stories in there.
Yeah. And then the other thing to know is that Amazon, if you publish with Amazon with Kindle Direct Publishing,
Mhm.
they require you to inform them if you used AI or not. And so
Mhm.
there's a checkbox that you have to say, I either used AI or I didn't use AI. So you need to inform them. It's not that they're not going to publish your book. It's more of they want to know how many people. It's kind of they're getting their
Mhm.
data of how many people are actually using AI to write their books, right? All right, so we're going to dive in here. So what we're going to do is go over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to do a chapter outline, but I want to put in something that one of you guys do. So I know we have 8 people here, or more than that, maybe 20 people here watching. Tell us, what do you do? What's your profession? So put it in the comments what you do, and we'll write a chapter outline for you. So
You're
go
going to
ahead
pick
and put
somebody.
in, yeah, we'll pick somebody.
You're going to get
So
like
go
a
ahead
quick
and
chapter
put
outline.
it in. We'll see what comments we're going to get. If no one puts one in, I'll just use one that I know of. Or Melanie, you can tell me one.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes a minute because people are typing and we're waiting for them to come through. Melanie, why don't you go ahead and choose one, and I'll share my screen.
Okay, let's do a sales business consultant, a business sales consultant.
Okay.
That's something we haven't done before.
All right, perfect. Okay, can you see my screen here?
Yeah, it's really small though for me.
It's really small. Here, let's see if.
Like,
Well, I think if I remove,
I need my glasses to see it. I can see it if I put my glasses on.
Okay, how about I just zoom in?
Yeah, zoom in.
Does that make it better?
Yeah, that's better. It's a little bigger. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, and we have someone else on the next example. We'll do Denise's special education teacher. Okay, so we're gonna do now, instead of just saying write a chapter outline for a book for a sales. What did you say, Melanie?
A business sales consultant.
Okay, business. So instead of just putting write a chapter outline for a book for a business sales consultant, I'm adding a lot more to it, because what I want is it to be informative. I want it to be detailed, educational, and well-informed and enlightened, right? So I'm adding all this other text to it so that it knows what to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to hit go, and we have to start over. So sometimes it just has to be refreshed. Here it is.
Had it open for a while we were doing our. There we go.
Oh, awesome. So it's starting to give you some ideas, right? Excuse me. So here's here's how you don't have to use this word for word, right? But look at this, like your chapter outline is pretty much here, where you could start adding in those frequently asked questions and should ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some of these you don't like, so you can ask it to give you different ones. But it's pretty cool, pretty fun, right? And then it gives you a little bit of ideas here, like use your real life examples, which we talked about, right? And that can help them change their business environment. Okay, now for Denise, was it Denise? Yeah, Denise, retired special education teacher. So Denise, can you guys see this? Are you still seeing my screen or just the chat? I think you're just seeing the chat, right?
I can see your screen.
Okay, so can you still see the chat?
I see the chat and the screen, but I don't know if I'm seeing everything that everyone else is.
Well, I think you can still see the chat. I can see it on here. So I'm going to add in a new one for Denise, retired special education teacher.
So you want to say really
write a chapter outline for a special education teacher. I'm going to say retired.
Would retired be well, the book is not being the book is really about, well, she's a special education teacher, but what does she want to teach, right? It's not that, is it how to be a retired special education teacher, or
let's just see what chat does for special education teacher. So a chapter outline for a special education teacher, but this time we're going to make it humorous. We're going to say, inject my text with witty comedic flair that leaves my readers with fits of laughter and thoroughly entertained. Let's see what happens with that.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be funny.
Yeah. Welcome to the jungle, navigating the wild world of special education. I like that one. Crafting lessons like a reality TV show producer.
Oh,
The
that's
secret
cute.
language of special educators. The art of classroom management, herding cats, literally. Tech tools, more gadgets than a spy movie. Filtered. It goes so fast, right? Like I'm going to have to go back.
Yeah, I can't even read
Story
it.
time, tales from the trenches, laughing all the way. So look how cool that is. Like, Tales from the Trenches, Special Educators, Swiss Army Knife. There you go. Survival
Skills. Yeah.
You're going to need survival skills if you're a special ed teacher. And I know they call it something else now, not special
Denise
ed.
says, yes, all of that is true.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. But you get the idea, right? So you get the idea of how you can use AI to help you to write your chapter outline. And you don't want to just say, give me a chapter outline, right?
Mhm.
And you're probably wondering, where did I get those prompts? Well, I Googled it. So
Yeah.
you can find prompts all different places. There's books that are just, there's books everywhere. There's Instagram posts about different ones. It's all of that. So you can use chat to help you to write your book. And it's pretty awesome because it can just get that fire started for you. You won't get in a slump. It's kind of like having your muse right there, right?
Definitely. And you can see I can use it just to get ideas and generate part of your book to get going, because so many of us struggle with writer's block. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to go. And remember, I was talking about get the macro done, and then you can start to work on that micro and put those other pieces of the puzzle together to get the book written. So it's just really important to get that structure, I think, to start with, and then incorporate those stories in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. I don't know if any of you, I mean, I want to touch on a little bit. I know we were asked about what does it take to be a bestseller. So first of all, work with the right people. It's hard to become a bestseller on your very own. There's no one who reaches the top by themselves. You need help. All the most successful people, they never do it alone. They always have people that help them or a team to get there. So work with the right publisher, marketer, to get you to be number one bestseller. So again, it happens to be like, have those right categories, have those right keywords, have a great title, have a great subtitle, have a great cover of a book, and write a really good book. So remember, all of that needs to come together.
Yeah, and to be authentic and real with you, Zulkarnain was asking how many books do you need to sell? Like I said earlier, it depends on the category you're in, and it depends on the competition of that category. So if you're in the children's books general, you're going to have to sell thousands and thousands of books to get to number one in that spot, right? If you're in children's books Caribbean, you're going to have to sell hundreds to 200s to 300s books to get to that spot. So it really depends on what you're in. So that's what, when we're working with someone, it's different for every single author because every book is different and every genre is different. So we can't just say it takes this many books to make number one, right?
Yeah.
The Wall Street Journal list and the New York Times list, those have specific numbers. The USA Today have specific numbers. But when on Amazon, it depends on what category you're in. So.
Yeah. And Wall Street Journal, their list has gone away. They canceled their list. Maybe it'll come back, but right now it doesn't exist anymore. We used to do Wall Street Journal bestsellers for our authors, and also USA Today. But now USA Today has become an editorial, just like New York Times. So even if you sold 100,000 books in a week, there's no guarantee that they'll choose you to be on your list. I just want to encourage you all, if you've been thinking about a book or working on a book. I get people all the time, I've been working on this for 2 years. I've been thinking about a book for 5 years. So, I was planning a family trip and we were trying to figure out where we were going to go. And so we had all these places. And so instead of deciding, we decided not to decide at that time. And that's a decision. So either you decide we're not going to take a trip, that's a decision, or you decide we're going to take a trip, and you pick the place, that's a decision, or you decide not to make a decision. I tell my kids that's a choice. A choice is one of those choices is not to decide. But then what happens is you're not going anywhere. You're not moving forward. You may actually be moving backwards because you're still in that limbo. So we were thinking about going to the Dominican Republic again. And, I priced out different locations of things. And the airfare, I think, was like, I don't know, $650 per person, which was not cheap. But I thought, okay. So I did like the budgeting of what it would cost just to go there and some other places. And then a few months went by. And then we decided, all right, let's go to the Dominican. And then I looked up the airfare and it was $3,000 per person. $3,000 per person to go to the Dominican Republic. So my decision not to decide cost me money if I wanted to go there now, and maybe limited my choices or what I wanted to do or limited my budget. So I encourage you to make that decision of moving forward. And one of those things that we decided to do this year was to give people the opportunity to freeze our 2023 price, because we're going to have a price increase in 2024. That if you want to join us, all you have to do is do a $2,000 deposit for any of our publishing packages, including VIP Day, including a bestseller launch that locks that price in. And you don't even have to pay anything until the end of March if you don't want to get started until then. So I just want to encourage you to make a decision, whether it's with us or with someone else, but move forward. Move forward with writing your book. Move forward with taking the decision of who's going to publish your book and become that author in 2024. So you're not losing revenue. So imagine that you have your book in your hand and how many clients you could get, how many sales you could get, how much media attention you could get, how many podcast interviews you could be on when you start to have your book. Then imagine, okay, I still don't have my book. How many opportunities have I missed? How many podcast interviews have I missed? How many new clients? Like when Jen gave away her book, we don't know where that book's going to end up. I had a book that I wrote, the Life Legacy Challenge, that ended up in the hands of an American citizen in a Japanese prison. And I encouraged him to write his book while he was in prison and gave him a purpose while he was there. He was depressed and felt horrible that he felt like he was wrongly imprisoned, but now he felt like he had a reason to go on. I mean, that just touched my heart that, oh my gosh, someone I halfway across the world, I've inspired and motivated and maybe changed the trajectory of his life and maybe other people's lives because they won't wrongfully get imprisoned. So how many lives will you change by writing your book? Or how many lives won't you change by not writing your book and taking action? So I just want to encourage you, don't be one of those people that's decided to not decide. Make a decision of what you're going to do and put that on your radar and take action every day to get to that goal and become an author. Be one of those few people that when you go to that networking meeting that you get the same response I did of, you're an author? You wrote a book? I've never met an author before. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to write a book. I just know what it takes to write a book. That's so impressive. Be that person. I just encourage you to get to that phase of your life.
Well, let me share my screen. And I just put a link in the chat to our holiday special. But let me share my screen and you guys can see where that what that looks like. Share screen. Here we go. There it is. All right. So this is the page that you'll get to when you click on that link. And the offer ends next week. So you want to jump on it right now before our prices go up.
So let me just walk you through what it is. You're going to get included with any of our publishing packages, which we don't include in our publishing packages. You're going to get 3 months of social media. So when you launch your book, we're not only going to make the posts for you, we're going to post them for you. So you're
on
going
Instagram.
to get, pardon me, Jen?
On Instagram.
Yes. So you're going to have Instagram social media of 3 months worth of excitement before, during, and after your book launch. I think that's really, really exciting. We're going to lock our prices in because we are going to have a price increase. So you're going to get 2023 pricing. So what that means is you can do the deposit of $2,000. not pay anything, and not decide which publishing package you want yet, but look them over, take your time to decide, and you have all the way until March 31st to do that. And then we know your book will still be published in 2024. Or if you're ready to go, you're like, I've got my deposit, I'm going to decide in February or January which package I want, and let's go and start working towards that. You're going to get access to our marketing portal where we have all these great ideas about how you can market your book. So you're already taking action on your marketing. Okay. You're going to get your first publishing meeting right away. So you're going to know what to expect. You're going to get all logged into our system, and you're going to have a vision of what you're supposed to be doing between now and the time you commit to your publishing package. And then usually we only do 4 payments. We're going to do 6 payments. And usually there's a 10% bookkeeping fee when you do a payment plan, and we're waiving that. So right away, you're saving 10% if you're doing a payment plan on top of this. So you're getting locked into 2023 pricing. You're going to save 10% by doing the 6 payment plan, which we always do a 10% bookkeeping fee. So you're getting that advantage as well. And you're getting to work with our team, and you get guaranteed that you're going to become a bestseller and get on the bestseller list. So it's just for that $2,000 deposit. Oh, also, by the way, that is a tax deduction. If you're looking for a tax deduction for 2023, that $2,000 will go towards an advertising or marketing fee that you'll get.
Awesome. That's great. So you want to jump on this today and get started. And of course, you can always reach out to us and we can answer any questions that you have. And we can help you with anything that you're working on. We do have book publishing packages, and we also have bestseller campaign packages and marketing packages as well. Yeah. Or if you need an author website, we have those as well, and social media marketing team.
Yeah. Do we have any questions about publishing or about the package or anything? We're here to ask any questions you have about getting your book to bestseller, writing a book. How long does it take? I will tell you, one question we get, like people who work with us for VIP Day, how long does it take to get my book done? I always use Donna Peters as an example, but I think she is an exception. She's a real action taker with her book, Options Are Power. So from the day that she did our VIP Day to the day that her book was published was 6 months. But realistically, life sometimes gets in the way. So we say anywhere from 6 months to 10 months from the day that you do a VIP Day with us. But if you start with us like, hey, my manuscript is almost done. I've got a couple chapters to finish up. So we recommend that you work with us during that time as well, because then you're going to start to have a plan, right? Your social media is going to be created. We're going to work on your book cover. I always explain it as this way, like if you're building a house, which is like your book. So you're building the house, but then you didn't order any furniture. And so all of a sudden your house is built, but you have nothing to sit on. You don't have a sofa. You don't have a bed to sleep on. So what you want to do is order all your furniture, which is like getting the publishing process started. So when the book is finished, you can move in. And you have a sofa to sit on, you have a bed to sleep in, you have your chairs, your dining room table, all of that. So we're creating all of that, which is the publishing process. So what happens is when your book is finished, it's ready to go to formatting, and then you're published. You're not wasting all of that time in between. Like, okay, my book is finished. Now I need to publish. But we take people at that point too. But ideally, if you're starting from scratch, start working with your publisher during your writing and editing process. That's ideal because, again, it saves time. It's much more efficient. But if you come to us and you're like, my manuscript is finished, then usually 3 to 4 months to make sure that we get the formatting right and go forward with everything with that. So just so you have an idea of what that timeline is as well. And then if you're at the phase where, listen, I'm self-publishing my book or I'm working with another publisher. We work with publishers all the time. And you're like, I really need that bestseller campaign. My publisher doesn't do that. So Ekaterina, the children's book author, is one of those. So we just did 4 of her books and made all 4 of them bestsellers. So if you're in that phase of your book and you want to become a bestseller, then we'll work with you. Even if you're working with another publisher, usually we work very well with them. We've even worked with traditional publishers to make our authors bestsellers. So we take you wherever you're at. Would my book have elite publishing trademark? Yes, we put our book, like you're published with Elite Online Publishing. That's a great question, Deborah. But I want you to know that you still own 100% of your book. All the accounts on Amazon and Ingram and everywhere books are sold is in your name with your banking information. Our name is just down as your publisher, which gives you credibility because we're a global publishing company, and we're a well-known established publishing company. So that gives your book extra credibility. But we want to make sure that you're getting all the royalties and you're making all the money from your book, and that you have all the files from your book. Very important when you pick a publisher. We give a thumb drive with your cover, your final formatted version, all the assets, whether it be 3D images of your book, all of that is on your thumb drive and you own it. And if you want to go make changes yourself, you can, but you have all that and own all that. We've had authors come to us that have worked with publishers and they don't have that. And they're not even published under their name, with their accounts. So they're like, oh, I wanted to go in and change my price, but they can't because it's under the publisher's account and the publisher says, no, I'm not willing to do that. So you want to have complete control. I always say it's kind of the Taylor Swift thing, right? Taylor Swift had her music library bought by somebody else. She had no control over it. So she went back and is republishing and re-recording all of her music. So she owns it and she has complete control over it. So you want to have that same thing when you are an author. Make sure you have complete control over it.
Do we have any other questions from anyone else? I know Zulkarnain had asked a question about having me do a chat GPT for his wife, who's a dentist that lives in the USA. But you can just go to OpenAI, chat.openai.com. No, chat.openai. I think that's what it is. Yeah, chat.openai. Oh, it is .com. Okay. Go there and you can put in the prompt and you can get a chapter outline for a dentist.
Okay, they have a question about the ISBN. Do they buy the ISBN number for us or do we buy it? Do you want to take that, Jen?
Sure. Yeah, so an ISBN, normally whoever owns the ISBN owns the distribution rights. And so we provide the ISBN for all of our clients because we are the publisher. So we want to have Elite Online Publishing listed as the publisher. This makes it, like she said, we're a global publisher. So on Amazon, it won't look like you're self-published because you have a publisher. But then you have like kind of similar rights and royalties like a self-published author. So you keep all your rights, all your royalties. The ISBNs are owned by us so that when we list it as the publisher, Elite Online Publishing, then that's what's listed under the publisher's name. But you keep all your rights and royalties and you get all your files like Melanie said. And then the distribution means where your book is sold. So where's your book distributed? So we don't just publish on Amazon. We make sure that you are published on every bookstore online. And that includes libraries and schools. So if your university wants to buy your book, you can give them the ISBN number and they can order it from their catalog. If every bookstore has a catalog they can order from, whether it's online or in the book form, right? Catalog. Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Walmart, Target, Chapters in Canada, all of those places you can order. A lot of offline bookstores, like brick and mortar bookstores, some of them are going out of business, but not all of them. Barnes and Noble changed their model so that the managers order all the books. And so you can walk into any Barnes and Noble and talk to the manager and hand them your media kit and say, here's my book ISBN number. Could we get this on the shelf? When is your local author palooza or author book signing party that you have where all the local authors come? Find out when that is and you can go there and do a book signing.
Yeah, and I want to make a point about exposure. So another reason to write your book and publish your book is the exposure you get. So think of the exposure you get by having your book listed at Target, having your book on Barnes and Noble, having your book listed in Walmart. So I had an author that came to us the other day. He wants to sell 1 million books, and hopefully he's listening today. He said he might get the repeat. So one of the things is making sure your book is on Ingram. So his book was just on Amazon. He's like, I never heard of Ingram before. So you want to make sure your book is globally distributed. So if you have it only on Amazon, which someone may be like, you're like, oh, well, this publisher's a lot less money than you. Great. But that, guess what? You're only on Amazon. You missed that whole other segment of being globally distributed everywhere across the world. And then some authors have you on Amazon, but they don't put you internationally in the other countries. So our goal for you is to be an international bestseller, and target countries that you can sell your book that it's appropriate for. And we try and put you in all the different countries. So make sure that you are globally distributed. And I just want you to think about that exposure for you, your business, your personal brand, to be in all of those places. I mean, that's huge. So think about you're investing into your brand. Think about what other investments have you made into your brand before. We used to have people that would buy TV airtime from us all the time. People pay for a Super Bowl ad. It kind of comes and goes. Someone might have to search for your Super Bowl ad, but your book lasts forever, and your book is going to outlive you. You know, we buy books from people that are no longer here with us all the time. Norman Vincent Peale, his book is still on the bestseller list. So it's an investment that you may not see the 100% return in the first year, but you are going to have that long-term return year after year after year. And by having a book, you're creating thousands of pieces of content that can turn into blogs, articles, social media, videos you can make from the book. So, and I have to say, like when we do our VIP day, it's almost like a business metamorphosis. Stephanie Chung, who just recently did a VIP day with us, said, you know, I love that I'm partnered with you, that you and Jen have run, you know, Melanie, you've run $100 million business. You know what it takes to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, that you can advise me on this. I love that you're a woman-owned business. I love that I feel like you're not just a publisher. Your company is really like a business partner with me with my book. And she goes, and that's why I chose you. So I felt very honored that she mentioned those things, and was really special to me. So if you're thinking about writing a book in 2024 and you're not sure what package to do, you're not sure if you need the VIP day or the bestseller list, that's why I encourage you just to make that $2,000 deposit, get started, be in our ecosystem, and then you know you're committed to 2024. Don't be like me with my vacation to the Dominican and then I missed the opportunity because it wasn't, you know, I didn't take it when I had it then. Don't delay. So jump in. We encourage you to work with us. We have a phenomenal team, and we really are beside you. We really work closely with our authors. So we would love to work with you. And if you're not sure, set up an appointment with us. We're happy to have a conversation with you, or one of our expertise from our team can have a conversation with you. And the special is only good until December 22nd. So you have to sign up before December 22nd and get the tax write-off too.
Awesome. Well, I'll put the link up. Everyone can go there. And if you want an appointment with us, you can go to our website and click the author submission button and fill that out, and we can get you on our calendars.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear, what were some of the top takeaways that you got from our training today? Put in the chat what you got and what was the thing that stood out most for you in the training today. I would love to hear from any of you, if any of you are still hanging around.
The thing that I got from it was about the procrastination. Like, you know, you said that missed opportunity, right? Or it cost you money because you decided not to decide, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I think that was one of the big things that stood out to me. What was one of the things that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think that, and you know, taking action, doing like the same thing over and over again to try and get your book published and still not getting anywhere, like kind of my pants shredding this morning. You know, are you doing the same thing over and over, and you have 3 books started and you just don't have that clarity of just focusing on using the tips of writing your book that we gave today, doing that 10 by 10, doing the macro first and then the micro, I think really stood out to me to get the book done.
Yeah. Deborah says the value, and not just having it on Amazon, the value of having it in other places.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because a lot of people miss out on doing that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of countries that speak English. So people in Australia can read your book. People in UK can read your book. People in Canada can read your book. Even in Germany, they speak English. You know, like there's so many countries that speak English. even in Pakistan. Zulkarnain speaks English.
Right.
So, they can read your book and it can go a long way. You never know how far it's going to go.
Yeah. Jen, share your screen with the offer again, just so people can see the details in case they haven't pulled it up on there. And I'll just go through it real quick one more time
Okay.
for everybody in case they weren't sure exactly what was included in it. So you can kind of see what we're doing. One of the things is the free social media, which I think is huge, of 3 months social media on Instagram that we're going to create the post for you. And we're going to post it for you. So it's a no-brainer. You don't even have to think about it. And that our prices are locked in until all the way until March 31st of next year. And the 6 payments. I'm kind of jumped into that interest-free 6 payments available. And then you get your first publishing meeting. So you get the ball rolling and you get all the tools in our marketing portal of all the different ways and secrets that we have about marketing a book. So, yeah, and you're going to get your spot guaranteed on our book launch schedule. So I think all those are really important. And it's just 6 days to make sure that you claim that before the 22nd.
Awesome. Great. Well, we hope you guys had a wonderful time today, and we are excited to work with you. So reach out and we will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah, wonderful holidays, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We hope you got tons of content out of that, that you got a lot of takeaways, that you were inspired, you were motivated, you got some great tips on what you should do to get your book written and get it published this year. Don't decide not to decide. Decide to do something. Take action. Imagine yourself holding your book in your hand and becoming a #1 bestseller and saying that that's what you did in 2024, how proud you'll be, how proud your family members will be for that. We'll see you next time. Catch us on YouTube. Go to eliteonlinepublishing.com. You can fill out the author submission form if you'd like a one-on-one appointment with us. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.